Earth was never meant to support life, at least not by galactic standards. When the Scal expedition first cataloged it, the mission logs were riddled with contradictions. The third planet from Sol, designated RX-Pi 003, was a planet of madness. It spun too fast. Its tectonic plates shifted constantly, ripping the crust apart and spewing molten rock from its interior. The atmosphere was a volatile mix of nitrogen, oxygen, and trace toxins. A single lightning storm there released enough energy to destroy a mid-tier scout vessel. And yet it thrived. The initial scan showed water, abundant and unstable. Massive bodies of it churned beneath chaotic weather systems. The Scow had never seen a planet with hurricanes larger than entire continents. Tsunamis, earthquakes, wildfires, all present, all regular. Some regions froze solid for months, while others baked in temperatures that would liquefy most life forms. Every biosphere on that world was locked in a cycle of violence, predation, and survival. Nothing should have evolved there, but it did. The analysis team labeled Earth as a class 12 Deathworld. That term didn't even officially exist in the registry. Classifications ended at Class 7. Earth forced a revision of the scale itself. The commanding officer, Danex, filed a personal note to the Galactic Council, stating, "This world is not simply dangerous. It is actively hostile. It punishes weakness. It reshapes life through agony." The team refused to land. Remote probes were deployed, and the data sent back was worse. Insect the size of fists, capable of injecting venom lethal to 10 beings. Mammals with claws that could disembowel their prey in seconds. Plants with chemical warfare embedded in their leaves. Microbes that bypassed immune systems like sentient predators. And yet, something intelligent had survived it all. Something bipedal, hair-covered, tool-using, and spreading. They called themselves humans. The Scow observed them from orbit, watching their behavior with growing unease. These beings did not live in harmony with the planet. They dominated it. They carved into mountains, rerouted rivers, ignited forests to make space for crops. They built cities in flood zones, settlements on fault lines, and research stations on active volcanoes. Every one of their habitats existed in defiance of nature's rules. And still, they flourished. Even more disturbing were the humans themselves. They appeared fragile, soft-skinned, lacking natural armor or weapons, yet they hunted apex predators with sharpened rocks. They built structures that resisted wind and fire and ice. When one group was wiped out by disease, they isolated it, studied it, and returned with immunity. They didn't just survive trauma. They adapted to it. They learned from pain. They evolved through failure. The final recommendation from the Scal expedition was simple: avoid all contact. RX-Pi 003 is not a world to be approached. The species within is not compatible with galactic norms. We do not know what they are, but they are not like us. They are what the galaxy made extinct 1 billion years ago, survivors born of chaos. And chaos does not negotiate. The transmission was sent. The system was marked restricted, but it was too late. Humanity had already begun looking at the stars. Human biology defies classification. When the Galactic Medical Consortium received genetic samples from Earth's apex species, their first reaction was disbelief. A carbon-based organism capable of enduring both freezing and blistering temperatures, metabolizing a range of organic and inorganic substances, and functioning for days without sleep or sustenance. Impossible. And yet, it was all verifiable. Humans possess a circulatory system that can clot wounds in seconds, a redundant respiratory network, and pain tolerance thresholds unmatched in any known species. Their bones, while brittle compared to some silicon-based life forms, heal rapidly. Their skin regenerates. Their muscles strengthen with damage. Under stress, humans don't shut down, they escalate. Cortisol and adrenaline interact to create a surge of physical and cognitive function, effectively unlocking temporary enhancements. In lab simulations, subjects lifted objects 5 times their body weight, made precision decisions under mortal danger, and even performed complex social coordination without direct communication. This chemical override, termed the fight or flight response by humans, is not rare, it is standard. Worse, it is effective. But biology is only one layer. Behavior is where the true horror begins. Humans are paradoxical. They are social creatures who routinely engage in war. They form emotional bonds across tribes, species, even abstract ideas, yet can attach those bonds when threatened. They mourn their dead deeply, yet send their young into combat. They laugh during fear. They cry in moments of triumph. No predictive AI has been able to accurately model human emotional output under stress. They are not irrational. They are just impossibly complex. One internal report from the Zarnathi diplomats described the human learning curve as terrifyingly short. Within weeks of exposure to alien languages, they were fluent. Given access to foreign technology, they modified it, improved it, sometimes dangerously. Their curiosity has no off switch. When confronted with barriers, humans don't retreat. They test, probe, break, and rebuild. And they do not stop. Rest is optional. Survival is instinct. Progress is law. Then there's their relationship with violence. Among the galactic species, combat is ritualized, strategic, or avoided. For humans, it is art, instinct, and last resort all at once. They practice violence for sport, train for it in peace, and execute it without hesitation in defense. And yet, they also build philosophies around peace, codes of honor, and laws to restrict their own brutality. They chain the beast, knowing what it can do. And when unchained, they become monsters of precision and willpower. In interrogation scenarios, they resist mental probes. Under torture, they fabricate realities to deceive. One human reportedly laughed during psychic dissection, causing the interrogator to suffer neural backlash. They form attachments quickly, but those attachments fuel their fury if threatened. A harmed friend, a lost child, a broken code. These trigger responses that escalate beyond logic. Entire squads have been lost underestimating what a single, grieving human is capable of. What's worse is that they don't just survive adversity. They bond through it. Trauma becomes identity. Suffering becomes unity. Humans are not just products of a death world. They are its ambassadors. And they wear their scars like armor. The Galactic Council's first contact initiative with Earth was not born out of arrogance. It was born of curiosity. After decades of remote observation, Council analysts believe humanity, though volatile, could be guided. Other Death World species have been integrated before, albeit slowly. Earth's dominant civilization had achieved spaceflight, rudimentary AI, and nuclear technology. Diplomatic outreach was proposed. A delegation was assembled. Translation matrices were calibrated. The Council expected resistance, but not violence. That was their first mistake. The ship descended quietly, landing in a remote sector outside any known human military installation. They approached cautiously, non-lethal tech, universal symbols of peace, no weapons drawn. The initial greeting was met with confusion. Then came a barrage of radio signals, scrambled frequencies, and erratic electromagnetic pulses. The humans didn't understand the language, but they understood the presence of the unknown. Within an hour, military vehicles encircled the ship. Attempts to communicate were made, visual displays, synthesized speech, gesture-based mimicry. The aliens meant no harm. But humans, ever suspicious of the unknown, demanded surrender, access, and submission. When the aliens resisted, a standoff ensued. Earth's atmosphere, rich with variables the aliens hadn't accounted for, interfered with shielding. When one human panicked and fired, the ship retaliated with a stun burst. That moment became the turning point. The stun affected the soldiers, but it didn't incapacitate them. It enraged them. One soldier, adrenaline flooded and possibly concussed, charged the delegation with nothing but a knife. He killed 2 envoys before being restrained. His helmet camera captured everything: aliens, weapons, wounds, screams, and was broadcast worldwide within minutes. Humanity saw it not as contact, but as invasion. Retaliation was swift and horrifying. Within 6 hours, Earth's governments coordinated a full-scale assault on the landing site. Missiles, drones, and kinetic rail slugs pounded the alien vessel. The delegation activated defensive measures, but the sheer scale of aggression overwhelmed their systems. The ship was forced to flee, taking off under heavy fire. 3 humans had breached the hull before takeoff and were still on board. That was the second mistake. The captured humans did not behave as prisoners. Within 24 hours, they had mapped the ship's interior, exploited the atmospheric filtration system, and accessed a terminal. One of them learned enough of the alien interface to disable non-essential power and trigger a landing attempt. The crew, never trained for such resilient captives, panicked. One attempted to sedate a human, only to be stabbed with a surgical instrument fashioned from repurposed restraints. Only one alien survived. His testimony was recorded before his mind fractured completely. They laughed. Bleeding, restrained. They laughed. They weren't scared of us. They were curious. And then they got angry. The Council classified the mission as a containment failure. Earth was quarantined. Contact was forbidden. But the message had already spread. Across dozens of systems, footage of the human soldier, grinning through blood, standing over alien corpses, circulated like legend. To humans, he was a hero. To the galaxy, he was a harbinger. First contact had failed not because humans were evil. It failed because they weren't afraid. The Galactic Council's decision to quarantine Earth was swift and unanimous. But the damage had already been done. Earth's existence had transcended the realm of scientific interest and entered the annals of galactic horror. The archives were filled with cautionary tales, whispers among the stars. Do not engage Earthborn. What began as an effort to communicate, to foster peace, had ignited something far darker. Earth, once considered a curiosity, was now a terrifying enigma that no one dared approach. A directive was issued. Full galactic embargo on Earth-related systems. Trade, diplomatic ties, exploration, none would be permitted. Earth was isolated, locked behind a veil of distrust and fear. Any attempt to land on its soil would be met with force. Surveillance was allowed, but only from the farthest reaches of space. And even that was risky. No ship could approach Earth's orbit without triggering alarms, whether the ship was hostile or benign. The galaxy had learned that humans didn't care about the difference. The Council's attempts to suppress Earth's expansion were futile. Though the blockade was strict, humanity's ambition was relentless. Over the years, human colonization efforts spread to neighboring systems. They refused to be constrained by galactic rules. Where the Council's fleets had seen barriers, humans saw challenges. Their ships, designed not for elegance or peace, but for pure, brutal efficiency, tore through the stars like storms. They ignored established travel lanes and jumped directly into uncharted systems. When questioned by neighboring races, humans responded with little more than an unapologetic shrug and a sharpened blade. Rumors spread that human colonists had infiltrated Council member planets, setting up underground resistance networks. Some say humans offered their services as mercenaries, trading their skills and survival for resources, weaponry, and information. Others claim they began modifying other species' ships, adapting them to human specifications, altering engines, weapons, and hulls until they were as deadly as anything crafted by Earth itself. In the quiet, secure chambers of the Council, those who dared to speak openly about Earth's future whispered a fear. They spoke of humans as a unique force, a species that was not merely surviving the galaxy, but was shaping it. No other species had ever adapted so swiftly to new environments, to alien technologies. No other species had ever refused to yield, to beg for mercy. Earth's survivors, now scattered across the stars, were like a slow-moving plague. They weren't a conquest to be won. They were an event, a disruption. The final warning came from a forgotten archive, a file-tagged dangerous containment. The entry was brief and damning. It recounted a single phrase, spoken in a human dialect, recorded just before an exploratory vessel disappeared in the Zoran cluster. We will return. And when we do, you will wish you had never seen us. It was a chilling truth. Humanity had not yet reached its peak. What the galaxy had witnessed, conflict, defiance, adaptation, was just the beginning, and Earth's isolation wasn't a victory. It was a momentary low. The galaxy's greatest mistake was not in fighting humanity. It was in underestimating them. The Galactic Council now faces a grim reality. Humanity may not need the stars to survive, but if they ever decide to claim them, The galaxy may wish they never took such a long, hard look at Earth.